Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and this is my vlog. Now, normally with these videos, I present a lesson of some sort, whether it's about mastering mental fortitude or giving you how-to tips, things of that nature. But with this vlog, my attempt is to highlight my own creative experiences and showcase the various tactics that I'm using that I teach within my own life. And hopefully I can also have epiphanies and give you some other golden nuggets. So two kind of things in terms of that I dealt with that I think are good teaching lessons. So number one, there's someone that came to me for advice on a project, and they were kind of complaining that they're not getting the final result that they want. And when I was speaking with this person, I was trying to offer up solutions on how it could be done. I don't know if the solutions I offered up would have 100% worked, would have delivered what the person was going for, or perhaps there were better solutions for what the person was seeking, but it became a lot more of, no, that won't work. So I kind of got frustrated in a sense, and in the back of my mind, I thought, okay, you don't really want solutions, you want to just bitch and complain, which is ultimately fine. We all need a space to be able to just vent and let out certain emotions, because if we bottle them up, that's not really good. But when it comes to creative projects, especially, and you should want to be more solution-oriented, or at the very least, allow that space to happen of venting, but then switch over to a solution-oriented mindset. And it doesn't have to be you, but if you're going to seek out help from somebody else, such as myself, then if there's solutions being presented, listen to them. And at a certain point, this is a project that I've sort of been involved in. I've heard a lot of the creative sort of descriptions, through the various phases. I've heard about how things were going, and I didn't necessarily advise it from start to finish, but it got to a point where I'd heard enough, and it was at a point where this person was venting quite a lot, and at a certain point, you would just have to say, again, do you just want to bitch and complain, or do you want to actually get the result done, so that way you get the project you want? Now, in thinking about it, I feel like a lot of these things stem from fear. We all want the best project possible. However, when you can kind of pinpoint an excuse of it wasn't what we wanted, but it was because of this, then you sort of put up a defense mechanism for yourself to not be hurt by that pain. Because inevitably, listen, the matter of fact is that while we all want everyone to love the content that we put out into the world, whether it be a painting or a film, a TV series, a book, doesn't matter, not everyone's going to like it, right? And especially the more notoriety, let's say, you get, or the wider an audience your content reaches, well, the more you're opening up yourself to criticism. If all you do is show your parents your work and they applaud it, then great. If your goal is to have just 100% everyone likes what you do, then just stop there. Just show it to friends and family that will applaud it no matter what. But if you really want to kind of grow as an artist, you have to be willing to accept that criticism and not allow yourself to be bogged down by fear and put up those defense mechanisms. Because as soon as you start putting up those defense mechanisms of nah, it won't work, what you're saying is you just want an excuse. That way, if it doesn't work, you don't have to take it so personally. And that's not really right. For the sake of your own work and also your artistic soul, if you will. So that's one example of something that came up this week for me. The other thing, there was a person applying for a job, and the long story short is they wrote one of the most generic emails to the wrong person, by the way, and it was all because of a lack of detail and laziness, right? So those are two things. So to kind of backtrack, there was a post on a Facebook group searching for people to apply for a position. And while vague overall, there was also specifics of, here's the position. Again, not specifics in terms of like, here's your every day-to-day task, but just a general sense of here's what it is. And this is the email to get in contact with, right? So this person just blatantly emailed the wrong person. Nowadays with the autofill on everything, including email, like with Gmail, like if you start to type in someone's email and it'll give you suggestions of your own contacts. Well, I guess this person put in one of their contacts thinking, oh, it was close enough. It'll autofill, great. And then they wrote an email, hi person, my name is blank and I am applying for blank position. Here's my resume and other information. As you can see, like, not a good way to go about it. It's just so generic. And when I heard from this person, the excuse was, well, the post was vague. Okay, well, the post was vague, but you can still say like, hey, I saw a post on Facebook. I would love to know more detail, but I'm very interested. Here's my information. Please consider me, type of deal, right? That shows, it just gives context to the whole thing. The other aspect of it, you emailed the wrong person. So there's a great line said by Mo in Smart Guy where he says, with 5% more effort, you can get 50% more results. Now, it's meant as a comedic thing in the TV series Smart Guy because they take this like career aptitude test and, it tells them what they're supposed to be, and he's supposed to be like a middle manager type of guy and self-help guru. And so he really takes it to heart and starts kind of just spouting all what to him are just these seemingly profound yet aimless quotes. But if you really think about it, with 5% more effort, you get 50% more results. That quote always stuck out to me because as silly as it may have sounded, there's actually a lot of validity to it. So in this sense, the real takeaway being that I see a lot of people apply to jobs just ad nauseum. They think quantity. The number of applications that they put out means they're more likely to get a job. Not the case. So in the sense of 5% more effort gets you 50% more results. Let's say you sent out 5 job applications a day. If you really took the time to craft an amazing cover letter, give it the time that it deserves, well, you're gonna hear back a lot more likely than if you just send something like, hi, I'm great for this job and here's my resume, right? So please take that to heart because it does make a huge difference. Now, as far as my own creative projects, this weekend we finally wrapped principal photography on my feature film called Idol, which I've been mentioning and kind of cataloging throughout this vlog. And it was our longest day in terms of just hours because we were doing a lot of different scenes at various locations and just timing-wise throughout the day. But overall, it wasn't our longest day in terms of the actual shoots. But the material that we were shooting, especially the last stuff, was the most difficult. It's a very intimate scene. It's a very powerfully charged scene. And it was great to sort of end on that and just see kind of that human emotion. Like, I can't describe it without giving too much away in terms of the plot, which I don't want to do. But it was definitely just an amazing... I'm just proud of all the actors. Like, looking back on it, it felt very much like we could accomplish something truly fantastic. All the actors should be proud of themselves. They delivered above and beyond, and I'm excited to start the editing phase of it. So it's, it was a grueling process, but I am sad to see it go. Like, it's a weird kind of duality in that sense of, I was looking forward to being done because for me personally, filming, it's tough. It really is, and especially when you're doing on the level that we're doing it. There's a lot of hats that I have to wear and so forth that it tires you out. But and especially with kind of in the backdrop of everything else that I had going on. But yeah, there's a part of you that's still sad to see it go because of the bonds that you form, spending that amount of time working on something special. I'm not just saying that, like, anytime you go after a creative endeavor, it is a special thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But in that sense, I get to spend time with the actors every day via the editing. But nonetheless, it's not like they're physically there, so I am going to be sad about that. Anyway, all I can say is a lot of the lessons that I sort of learned is any time that I introduce doubt into my own mind is when things would start to, let's say, for lack of a better term, go bad. But as soon as I regained my confidence, things were looking good, luck was on our side, and things were happening. So you really just have to have that mindset that everything's going to work out, a mindset towards solutions. In fact, there's a great movie called Wag the Dog starring Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro, among others, like even Woody Harrelson in his early days. He's in that in a smaller role, but basically the movie is a satire about the political system and kind of wanting to cover up a scandal in Hollywood, or a scandal in the White House. So it's very timely, even though it's an old movie, in terms of what's going on in politics. But more so, they hire, for me, in terms of the filmmaking aspect, they hire a film producer to essentially produce a war, right? To create like these bullshit news stories. And one of the sayings that he has is, "This is nothing. This is nothing." So no matter what happens, he just says, "This is nothing," and goes to solutions. And that really is what producing is. And so, looking back on our production, anytime I veered away from that mentality, it became something. But when I really embodied the spirit of "this is nothing," solutions came. As far as other creative projects, I'm still revising my novel. I had to a lot of things got put on pause last week because I was catching up with my actual job, and a couple people needed my help on their creative projects. Whether, some were short in terms of just a couple hours, others, took up a lot of time. So there was kind of a lot going on, and I didn't get to focus on myself as much, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, it's a give and take. Like I call in a lot of favors for my stuff, but that's because people know they can call on me for their things, and so last week was definitely a giving back sort of time, if you will. As far as that, I think that's it overall in terms of what I've really been up to. I know I haven't really posted as many videos as I would have liked. My Phil Svitek podcast was kind of delayed. Again, just life got in the way, and my goal is to post something every weekday, but at the same time, I'm not going to stress myself out. Like, there's a lesson that I had that says always be creating. And so I at no point, even though I haven't posted as much in the recent weeks, have I been lazy. I've always been creating something. It just, isn't sometimes not always as immediate. Like with the feature film, minus me, short of me talking about it right here, right now, you wouldn't really know that's happening until the movie comes out. And even then, like, to me, like, there's that short window of time where people are kind of hyped up, they see it and so forth. But, it's very disproportionate in terms of the work you put in versus what you ultimately kind of get out of it, in terms of the fan base, if you will. And even if on the best case scenario, like, whatever, let's say like you have the best reception ever, it's still never going to kind of equal out. And I'm not saying that as a negative thing. All I'm saying is when you embark on a creative journey, it should never be about the gratification of it all. It should really be because you enjoy the process and you want to make something, put it out into the world, and essentially complete that spiritual journey by going on that creative journey, if that makes sense. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions about whether it's my stuff or certain lessons that you'd like me to teach, things of that nature, I am more than happy to respond or film a video about it, you know? Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm at Phil Svitek on social media, and you can also check out my website, philsvitek.com, for various other free resources. I'll see you next time.